here. Tonight we're talking about a hurricane. How many of you ever been in a hurricane? All 2.5 of y'all. How many of y'all Katrina people in here? Katrina, yeah, okay. So not only have we been in a hurricane, but we survived a hurricane. Amen? Isn't that awesome? So you know what's so cool, Miss Brandy, is that when we survive like a physical, actual hurricane, that tells us that God will allow us to survive storms that come in our life, right? So I'm talking tonight just a little bit to y'all about how to survive a hurricane. Tell somebody sitting next to you, I'm a survivor. Not gonna give up. I'm a survivor. Keep on surviving. All right, y'all don't know nothing about that. Now, we in church now. Y'all better act right. What y'all doing to me up here? So, you see, this is what the enemy tries to do, is he wants to detour us from our destination. So he will bring whatever he can. You know, I don't care what age you are in this place. Yes, tonight is a youth and young adult night, but this is for everybody, all right? Everybody in this room, this message is for. And I don't believe it's by chance or by accident that you hear. You may say, oh, well, somebody invited me and brought me here. Well, you know, God knew you were going to be here. Amen? And so these are the ways that the enemy will desires to have with you. He desires to delay you. Everybody say delay. To devastate and to destroy. All right, let's say it a little bit quicker. Delay, devastate, and destroy. That's what he wants to do to you. Can you believe that? That the enemy wants to do that to you? So, you know, he wants to do that so you won't arrive at your destination. Many of us in this place have dreams, things that God has placed in our heart, desires that, you know, some of us are, you know, just now going in high school. Some of us are going into college. You know, we're pursuing our destiny, our destination. We're going somewhere. How many of you going somewhere tonight? All right. Okay. Well, I'm in the right place. So some of us in this room are caught up in the middle of devastating crisis situations like a hurricane. And I got some, you know, y'all might hear some winds coming, hurricane winds in the background, because tonight we're in a boat together. All right. You see how we've got the lifesaver thing or whatever that thing's called. I don't know. When we got anchors, you know, we're talking not only about a hurricane, but we're talking about tonight about being in a ship. And I want to talk to you about a story about these sailors who got in a ship and they got caught up in a hurricane. How scary would that be? Because you know that hurricanes are formed, you know, in the water, and the heat of the water makes it, you know, really strong, and it kind of brings a lot of devastation. Okay, we all know that down in South Louisiana, right? So that's what the enemy wants to do, is he wants you to start going in the wrong direction, and he wants to take away your destiny that God has in store for you. So tonight I'm going to show you how you can survive and come out of a storm. Anybody want to know how to come out of a storm tonight, huh? Anybody? Okay, great. In Acts chapter 27, I'm just going to talk about the story. Is that okay with y'all? Y'all can go read it later. It's a very interesting story. You see, Paul was an apostle, and what he did, he used to actually, can you believe, Josh, that he would kill Christians? He would go to Christians and kill them. Every place he went, that was what he wanted to do, and he did. He killed many, many Christians, and all of a sudden, he was on his way to go to kill more Christians, and he had an encounter with God, and it totally revolutionized his life. And so now Paul is saved. Now, because Paul became saved, and he was a Jew, and you know, he began to, all of the Jews hated him because now he was converted. And so what happened is in chapter 27, Paul is being put on trial, not for killing Christians. He's being put on trial because he's enchained, he's captive and all of this kind of stuff, because he was spreading the good news. He was preaching. I mean, that doesn't really sound like a logical reason to put somebody in prison. I mean, the dude was, you know, offering salvation to people. He was planting churches everywhere, but they captured him because he was preaching. Now, you know, tomorrow we celebrate Memorial Day, and we talk about the freedom of our nation and how awesome. And we are blessed to live in America. We are blessed to be in the best country in the world. We are blessed. And there, you know, today, right now in Egypt, there are Christians that are not just being shot and killed, but that are actually being tortured because they bear the name Christian. That's today, 2013, in Egypt. You Google it, you find it. There are countries where they kill Christians and persecute them because of their faith. You don't see that here in this nation. So why do we try to keep it to ourselves? So Paul, in spite of knowing that going to each city and going to each place, knowing that he would probably be killed, but yet the passion for God that he had, come on somebody, was so deep that he didn't care because he knew what he had was real. So tell somebody, we're going to survive. We're going to survive. So here they go. So they bring Paul and he's before a trial and he's trying to prove to everybody, you know what, I'm not guilty. Let me tell you what I did. And, he started telling them his testimony and everything that was going on. And so, the judges there begin to say, you know what? You're really not guilty. And if it was up to me, I'd let you be free, but you have to go to Rome. You have to go see Caesar, and he's the one who has the final say so. But, I'm telling you, I believe you. So here he goes, shackles and everything. And he gets on the ship with all 276 people. I mean, can you imagine the smell on that boat? I mean, that's just nasty. I mean, I'm sure they probably didn't have, like bathtub and shower, Anybody been sailing or on a boat, Some people get sick. Some people get real seasick, I don't really get seasick. My brother, you go like this and he'll throw up because he's so motion sick, And like everything, y'all didn't catch that, but sorry, you'll catch it a little bit. He is so motion sick. And so him and his wife are both that same way. So, there 276 people are on a boat, including Paul, and they're trying to go to their destination. They're trying to go on their journey to Rome. So that's where we're going tonight. We're going there tonight. So Paul and all the other prisoners were to sail to Rome. And when sailing became dangerous, everybody say dangerous. When it became dangerous, Paul began to speak what God showed him in the journey ahead. You see, many of us in this room, I don't care how old or how young you are, some of us are in the boat and we're steering in the wrong direction. See, Paul began to tell him, God is telling me that if we continue on this journey the way that we're going right now, we're going to be caught up in a horrific storm. The boat is going to be destroyed. We're going to lose all kinds of cargo and even possibly lose our life. But you know what? The centurion soldier said, I'm not going to listen to him. That he's on trial, he's in chains. Who is he to talk to me, And so they start going on this journey. The centurion soldier made the decision for all 276 people on that ship. And they found themselves in the perfect storm. What is a perfect storm? They found themselves in the middle of a hurricane for 14 days because they didn't listen to what God was saying. And I want to tell you tonight that some of you are headed in the wrong direction. And I'm coming here as a messenger to tell you that you need to turn your mind around, turn that ship around, because you're about to get caught up in the biggest storm, the perfect storm. You see, a perfect storm is a storm that happens once every decade. Once every 10 years. And because they didn't listen to what God was saying, they got caught up in this hurricane. I want to talk about that tonight because some of you are in that place. You're not listening to the voice of your parents who are godly influences. You're not listening to the voice of your pastors or your youth pastor. You're coming there and you're amen. And you're like, you know what, that's okay. I understand what you're saying about, refraining from sex until you're married. I understand that, but it's okay if I just steer a little bit in the wrong direction because it's no big deal because I can just do a few things and I can't talk a lot about this way I want to because I know we have some young ones in here, some little ones, and I don't want the parents to stone me after the message, but what I'm saying is that, there are things that we try to do as Christians to live on the fence. So we think we can, hey, let me see how close I can go without actually having sex, but it leads to so many things, and people are not listening to the voice of God and listening to the things that God is saying, and so they take the boat. And then listen to this, it's not only their decision, but their decision reflects and affects everybody on the boat. And I want to ask you tonight, who are you allowing to steer your boat? Who are you on the boat with? Because some of us are so tempted to get in the in crowd, and we're so tempted to hang out with this one and that one when, baby, it ain't working, and you need to get out of that boat before you need to, you're going to be shipwrecked. Whose boat are you in? Whose boat are you in? In high school, I was real quiet, but yet I was like a sneaky clown in the class. Like I never got caught. And I like to have fun. I like to, crack some jokes. It's fun. I like to laugh, and make other people laugh. But I never got caught. I was sneaky like that. But and that's cool. I'm very, very sneaky. And I I never got caught in that. I like to have fun, but everybody knew that I was a Christian. They didn't think, some people think that, Clayton, being a Christian, that is the most boring thing that you could ever do. But I mean, dude, all of y'all hang around me all the time. You'll know that I have a lot of fun. And there is a lot of fun in living the Christian life. And, we need to make sure that we're not being influenced by people who are taking matters into their own hands. So let me get back to my notes. We begin to steer in the wrong direction against what God is saying. And so here we go. Check this out. The dude was like, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to do what I think is right. And so they start going in this direction, and there's a soft wind that comes. And so he's trying to act like, it's just a soft wind. Ain't nothing to this. Dude, Paul, you crazy. What's up with you? You mad. They call him that he was mad. He was crazy. Something wasn't right. So they kept on going. And you know what, Gerard, is they found himself in a hurricane. How does that relate to our life? How does that relate to my life, Bethany? Because when we start taking little steps in the wrong direction, it may seem like a little soft wind. It may seem like ain't nothing to it. I got away with that one. I got away with, ain't nobody caught me doing that. Ain't nobody caught me, smoking a joint or doing this. I didn't get caught with that. But then we find a place where we are so caught up in our sin that there's no point of return. You see, these people got caught up in the hurricane, and it says in the text, in the Bible, it says that when they got caught up in the hurricane, that they could not get out of it. They couldn't get out of it. They were overtaken by the wind. Some of us in here tonight, we have taken little steps into sin, thinking it would be okay and we can handle it. And honey, you can't. One little sip can mess up your life forever. I'm saying that there's certain things that we think is okay, and then we get caught up in a hurricane and overtaken by the storm. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I know you know some friends that this is the case, where they thought it was okay to do this and do that, and go out on a date and go a little too far when you shouldn't have, and then it's a little easier next time you see that person because you've already been that far. Let's go a little further. And then next thing we know, we've got everything in a mess, And am I condemning? No, I'm not. If you've made mistakes in here, our God is a God of second chances. And I want to talk to you about how you can survive the storm that you're in, no matter where you are. But for those who haven't gone so far, I want to save you tonight and help you to think about that. Steered in the wrong direction. Then they refuse to listen. When we are in rebellion, we don't want to hear the voice of the Lord. We don't listen to it. And then we take matters into our own hands. The dude took matters into his own hands. Sometimes we think we know and we can handle certain things. We think we know we can, we think that we can handle disobedience, and then we can handle anger. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I turn into the Hulk. If you look at me the wrong way, it's like, I got all these muscles and I'm green, and I'm ready to knock somebody out. Well, it happened with the soft wind and going in the wrong direction, not wrong influence in your life, and that's how you got there. And now you're trying to figure out how you can get out of the storm. That's where we get in our life. We allow little things to build up, and then one day we wake up and we're like, how did I get in this place? And I don't know how to get out of it. It's like I'm overtaken by the storm. So then the next thing is that these people in this ship, 276 people in this ship, they were caught. Everybody say caught. They were caught in the hurricane and driven where the wind would take it. Some of you don't even have a brain of your own because you let everybody else tell you what to do. Oh, it's cool to do this. Let's do that. Okay. Be a man. Be a woman. Stand up for what's right. God has given you a brain, baby. Use it. Common sense. Sometimes we get so spiritual, we think we got to pray about every little thing. And I'm not against prayer, but there's some things that God has given us common sense that we know we shouldn't do. And yet we walk into it. And then we get caught. And then we don't know what the heck to do. Because now we're overtaken by a hurricane. Anybody ever been there? Some of you, I know by the Spirit of the Lord that you're in this place right now. You don't know how to get out of the situation. I want to tell you tonight that you haven't gone too far.